Dear Taurus, let us begin. Forget for a moment that this is a reading. Forget the cards, forget the predictions, and just be here, with me, in this quiet space. Because something has been brewing within you, hasn't it? A silent storm behind your calm exterior. A profound restlessness that you've tried so desperately to ignore, to rationalize, to bury beneath the weight of your responsibilities. You've convinced yourself it's just stress, just a passing mood. But what if I told you it's your soul, knocking on the door of your heart, pleading to be heard? There is a conversation hanging in the air. Taurus, a truth that has been circling you, waiting for the right moment to land. And that moment is now. This isn't by chance. Your presence here is a sign that you are finally ready to listen. This truth feels unsettling. I know. It threatens the very stability you have worked so hard to build. But the stability you cling to has become a beautiful, gilded cage. And you, dear Taurus, have forgotten you hold the key. The conversation that is emerging is that key. It is the one that will finally set you free. Before we go deeper, I want you to anchor this intention with me. Let this be more than a passive viewing. Let it be a declaration. Go to the comments now and write this affirmation: I am ready for the conversation that sets me free. By writing it, you are telling the universe, and more importantly, yourself, that you are no longer willing to live in the quiet desperation of a comfort zone that has begun to suffocate you. Now, let's talk about that cage. The cards today don't just offer predictions, they paint a vivid portrait of your inner world. And the first figure that steps out of the shadows is a powerful one, often misunderstood, often feared. It is the energy of the devil. Please, do not recoil. This isn't a sign of external evil or bad luck. It is a mirror, reflecting the chains you have placed upon yourself. It speaks of the attachments you've mistaken for love, the routines you've mistaken for security, and the silence you've mistaken for peace. This is the fortress you built, brick by brick, every time you swallowed your needs to accommodate others, every time you chose the predictable path over the one your heart yearned for. The Devil card represents that relentless inner voice that says, don't risk it, stay safe. What you have is good enough. It's the master of the plausible excuse, the architect of your invisible prison. You see it in your finances, don't you? That feeling of stagnation, of working so hard just to stay in the same place. You see it in your work, where the passion you once felt has been dulled by the monotony of routine, leaving you feeling tired, not from the labor itself, but from the sheer weight of its predictability. You've been running on fumes, convincing yourself that this is just what adult life is, but it's not. It's the energy of the devil, of self-imposed limitation, whispering that you are not meant for more. And that, Taurus, is the greatest lie you've ever been told. But something is shifting. Can you feel it? A tremor in the foundation of that fortress. That is the energy of the wheel of fortune, turning slowly, inexorably, in your favor. The universe has decided that your time in this cage is over. It is introducing an element of divine disruption, a change, a revelation, a conversation that you cannot avoid. This might feel terrifying. You, who masterfully control your environment, are suddenly faced with a force beyond your command. The wheel turns, and with it, the ground beneath your feet begins to move. This could manifest as that unexpected news the original reading spoke of. A message, a call, an email, or perhaps an internal realization so potent It feels like it came from outside of you. This is the hand of destiny, reaching down to crack open the very chains you thought were unbreakable. It is forcing you to confront what you have been avoiding. The wheel doesn't ask for your permission. It simply turns, creating the opening you've been secretly praying for. And what do you do when that crack of light appears in your prison wall? You are being invited to take a leap of faith. This is the essence of the fool. The fool is not naive or silly. He is the embodiment of pure potential, of stepping into the unknown with nothing but trust in your heart. He stands at the edge of a cliff, not seeing a fall, but the beginning of a magnificent flight. This is your moment, Taurus. The conversation that is coming, the change the wheel has initiated, will present you with a choice: stay in the familiar misery of the cage, or take a breath and step out into the terrifying, exhilarating freedom of the unknown. This could be accepting a job that feels like a risk, ending a relationship that is stable but unfulfilling, or finally speaking a truth that you fear will change everything. Yes, it's scary, but the fool reminds you that true security is not found in controlling your life, but in trusting its flow. You are being asked to trade your meticulously drawn maps for a compass that points only toward your soul's true north. What lies on the other side of that leap? What happens when you cultivate the land outside the fortress? That is the domain of the Empress. She is the archetype of nurturing, creativity, and abundant growth. She represents the life that is waiting for you when you finally allow your garden to grow. For so long, you have been the rock, the fortress wall strong, stable, but barren. The Empress invites you to become the soil fertile, receptive, and alive. This is the energy you can now begin to cultivate in your life. It's about allowing yourself to feel again, to create not from a place of obligation, but from a place of pure joy. It's about nurturing your own needs with the same fierce devotion you've given to others. This is where your financial situation transforms, not just through a new job, but through aligning your work with what truly feeds your soul. This is where love becomes a garden you tend together, rather than a fortress you defend. The Empress promises that if you are brave enough to embrace the change, the life you build will be more lush, more vibrant, and more authentically you than anything you could have imagined within those old stone walls. And the ultimate promise of this entire journey, the feeling that awaits you at the end of this path, is found in the final cards of our story, the 9 and 10 of Cups. This is the destination. This is true fulfillment. The 9 of Cups is the wish granted, the deep, personal satisfaction of knowing you are living in alignment with your truest self. It is the quiet joy that fills you when you are alone, the peace that comes from within, not from external circumstances. The 10 of Cups expands that joy outward. It is shared happiness, harmonious relationships, and a sense of belonging that is real and unconditional. It's the feeling of coming home, not to a place, but to yourself, and finding that you are surrounded by people who see you, who love you, and who celebrate the authentic person you have become. This is the love that heals, the family that supports, and the community that uplifts. It's not a fantasy, Taurus. It is the profound and beautiful potential that is born from the courage to have that one terrifying, transformative conversation. So let's bring this down to your life, right now. In love, that tension you feel with your partner, that argument that seems to be about a plate or a forgotten task, it's not about that at all. is it? It's the pressure from inside your cage, building and building until it erupts over the smallest thing. The unspoken resentments, the needs you've suppressed, they are poisoning the air between you. The conversation that is needed is one of radical vulnerability. It requires you to lay down your weapons, take off your armor, and say, "This is what I'm truly afraid of. This is what I truly need." Yes, you may have to apologize, but more than that, you have to explain. You have to allow them to see the person inside the fortress. It will be uncomfortable. It will take time for the wounds to heal, but hugs, as the other reading noted, are a potent medicine. Physical touch reconnects you when words fail. But the most healing embrace of all is the one where you allow your true self to be held, flaws and all. And if you are single, your cage has been the belief that you must choose between a stable relationship and your freedom. You have been so afraid of being trapped that you've kept everyone at a safe distance. The fool asks you, what if true freedom is found within a connection, not outside of it? It's time to stop sampling everything and ask yourself what you truly hunger for. When you are clear on that, you will attract someone who doesn't want to put you in a cage, but wants to fly alongside you. In your career and finances, your exhaustion is not a sign of weakness. It's a symptom of misalignment. You are pouring your incredible Taurian energy into a structure that no longer supports your spirit. That unexpected job offer that might come, don't just evaluate it based on the salary or the title. Ask yourself, does this path offer more room for my soul to breathe? It may require a leap of faith, perhaps even a temporary step back to ultimately move forward. But the universe is nudging you toward work that feels like the Empress, creative, abundant, and alive, and away from the cold, stone walls of the devil. True wealth is a life rich in purpose. In your health, that anxiety, that feeling of being rushed, that nervous energy that is your soul rattling the bars of its cage. Your body is storing all the unlived life, all the unspoken words, all the untaken risks. Exercise helps. Yes, it releases the pressure, but you must also address the source. The original advice about therapy is not just good, it is essential. Think of a therapist or a coach not as someone who fixes you, but as a wise guide who holds a lantern while you explore the dark, forgotten corners of your own fortress. Prioritizing your mental health is not a luxury. It is the most crucial act of liberation you can undertake. It is how you learn to distinguish the voice of fear from the voice of your soul. The symbolic anchors. Let's reconsider the lucky numbers and color. Think of the color white not just as a lucky charm, but as a symbol for the blank page that awaits you. It is the color of clarity, of truth, of a fresh start. Wearing it is a conscious choice to align with this new, unwritten chapter of your life. And the numbers 8 and 2. The number 2 speaks of balance, partnership, and the duality of your life before and after this transformation. The number 8, turned on its side, is the symbol for infinity, a reminder of your limitless potential once you are free from your self-imposed constraints. They are not magic tricks, they are vibrational reminders of the journey you are on, your connections. It's no wonder you find resonance with Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces right now. Gemini is the master of communication, the very energy you need to have that transformative conversation. Sagittarius is the fool, the adventurer who will inspire you to take that leap of faith. And Pisces represents the unconditional love and spiritual healing of the Ten of Cups, the emotional home you are seeking. See them not just as compatible signs, but as archetypes and guides appearing in your life to help you on your path. Taurus, we have journeyed far. We started with a silent storm and a gilded cage, and we have arrived at the promise of a vibrant garden and a heartfelt homecoming. Everything hinges on this moment of choice. The universe has turned the wheel. The crack of light is showing. The conversation is waiting to be had. You have spent a lifetime being the rock, the reliable one, the fortress. You have carried burdens that were never yours to bear, and you have done it with a grace and strength that is nothing short of heroic. But the battle is over. You no longer need the armor. What is emerging now is a version of you that is lighter, truer, and more profoundly powerful than the one you are leaving behind. This transformation is your birthright. It is the reward for all your quiet endurance. You are not losing control. You are gaining freedom. You are not falling apart. You are breaking open. And in that sacred, broken open space, your true life is finally ready to begin.